Okay, guys, welcome to episode 16. And today I've got Mr. Kae Kurd in the house. What's going on, bro?
How are you doing, bro? You all right?
I'm good. I'm
I
excited to
believe
have
it.
you
I
on.
made it. I made it. I'm on the Diren Kartal podcast, ladies and gentlemen. This guy only has people with 100,000 followers. 100K, sorry, yeah, whatever, it's the same thing. 100K followers on Insta. I finally made it. I don't even have 50K, so this is a
Bro,
monumental moment for me.
you're a
And
verified
I've been on live at
comedian.
the Apollo, but this ranks above that, bruv.
You
What are you saying?
you've done live at the Apollo, innit?
I've done live at the Apollo, yeah. Come on.
That's you know what? Tell people a little bit about yourself, bro.
So I am a stand-up comedian. And yeah, I mean, what else do you want to know? That's literally it. I'm a stand-up comedian. I've done bits and pieces on TV. I recently wrote on a couple of things as well. But yeah.
Sick. He's an up and coming, the future, one of the
Not
best
even up and coming, bruv.
comedians.
Man's here. You get me?
No, you're here, but you're up and coming, gonna be one of the best, 100%. Because you're funny, bro. I love your content, man. That's why I hit you up. I love
Thank
your
you.
content, and I relate to you
Thank
so
you,
much because you're Kurdish. You're Kurdish.
Kurdish. Yeah.
We'll talk about that as well, bro. Give people more of an insight. Probably like talk about the differences between like the Turkish Kurd and the Kurdish Kurd.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll talk
Right.
about that. But for the start, yeah, tell me a joke. No, I'm joking. I bet you get that all the time, innit?
I fucking hate that, bro.
Do you
Do you know
get
what
that?
it is like? You say you're when you tell people you're a personal trainer, no one goes up to you and goes, "Oh, do 10 burpees," or like, do you know what I mean? Like you're
Yeah,
not asked to prove your occupation straight away, right?
yeah.
Like it pisses me off, bro. It's like I'm not a clown, bro. Like most time I just say my life's a joke, and then they're like, "Yeah, okay." Yeah.
So where are you based? You're in London. You're a London boy like me, but whereabouts?
South London. I've been in South London my whole life. My parents originally moved to Brixton back in 1990, and I live in Streatham now. So
Where did
yeah.
where did your parents come from? Talk about that. Tell me a bit about that, bro.
So essentially, my parents are from the Kurdistan region of Iraq. Although I never classed myself as Iraqi or anything like that.
Yeah,
And they were fighting against Saddam Hussein's regime. So once the resistance collapsed, obviously a lot of the fighters, which one of my dad was one of them, had
yeah,
to flee. My dad was actually injured in battle and stuff. So we came here in 1990, and my dad was getting treatment and stuff. And then, yeah, we've been here ever since.
And where were you born? Were you born there or here?
I was born in a city in Iranian Kurdistan called Sakaz. So what happened in '88 when the resistance broke down and Saddam started his campaign of genocide on a lot of Kurds, on the Kurdish population? What you saw happen was a lot of Kurdish fighters moving to the Kurdish cities in Iran.
Yeah,
So because it was essentially same language, same culture,
yeah.
essentially it was the same. So it was very easy to go there and live their life. But obviously they knew they couldn't stay there forever.
Okay.
Um, when we came over so I was born in 1990. So within 6 months we came here. So I was born in April. Within October we were here.
Yeah.
So and it was really it was quite by chance actually because at the time the British government were taking refugees from that area.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we came by the plane and we landed at Gatwick Airport, and then subsequently at the time, well, there still is. There's a Kurdish cultural centre based in Oval,
Yeah.
and at the time, what the government were doing was, because that was the only point of call for Kurdish people in this country, particularly from that region.
Yeah.
They liaised with them, and what ended up happening is we were all living We were living in South London at the time, and then gradually people like move on to other places because they're like, yeah, this is dangerous. And my dad was like, I like it here.
Have you got a lot of Kurds in South London?
Do you know what? It depends where. Like there are some, yeah, but it's not a massive community, and if it is, it's very dispersed. Whereas, do you know what's mad? Have you ever like I've been to America. I was invited to their Kurdish youth conferences a few years back, right?
Slow down.
Yeah, in like. So they've got like masses of like the great thing about their community, Kurdish communities, is over there they're organized. So, but they're very much like we're American. We're American, but like they're Kurdish. Do you know what I'm saying? So like
Yeah.
they're very patriotic on both sides, right? And I was introduced to I didn't know, but there was this massive Kurdish population in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, swear.
Like, there's literally documentaries about it called Little Kurdistan. Like,
No
so
way.
yeah, there's guys in Kurdish clothes driving on the highway and stuff. Like, it's mad.
No
So like,
way. I
yeah,
didn't know that.
country music, they listen to country music, all of that, bro. Right. So it's crazy. Like, when you go, there's such a strong community over there. Like, in fact,
Yeah.
that they like pulled up together all their money. They've got like their own businesses and stuff all in like around
Yeah.
their own culture centers, mosques, and all of that sort of stuff that they've built around there, and they built their own little kind of like
That's
community over
mad.
there.
That's
And it's
mad.
strong. They know each other, so that when they have like Nodor's parties, like Kurdish New
Yeah,
Year and
yeah,
stuff,
yeah, yeah.
they're
Goes off.
having, yeah, it goes off. It's crazy. Like, so, and it's mad. Like, when you see that and you're like, oh, like,
Yeah.
I wish we were that organized in other places.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But when did they get there? Because I feel like I'm
there's a lot of
first
Kurds.
generation. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so I
Yeah.
think them got there in the 70s. I think families over there
Okay.
got there
So
and
they're a
stuff.
little
Yeah,
bit ahead. Because whereas like my parents at the moment, like my parents speak Kurdish and Turkish, but I don't speak Kurdish. I only speak Turkish. But I feel like our generation will be able to do that if we want. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because
See,
then
I
we'll be there for
speak
longer.
Kurdish. I speak Kurdish fluently. So
Oh, sick.
I read and write Sorani, which is my
Okay, yeah.
dialect. So
Yeah.
my parents probably speak Kurmanji.
Kurmanji, yeah, they speak a
Yeah,
different dialect. How many
yeah,
dialects
yeah.
how many dialects is there? I don't even know, bruv.
So the two main ones are Kurmanji and Sorani. So and then you've got like other ones like Luri
Yeah.
and in different places, like in Hodaman, like certain
Yeah.
districts, you like different accents and
Yeah.
certain different stuff. And plus, because Kurds are spread over Iran, Iraq, Turkey, and Syria, what you tend to get is certain words from those
Yeah.
places seep into the language. So, like in Turkish, so like some Turkish seeps into
Yeah,
that
yeah,
to
yeah.
Kurd there, and Farsi in Iran, and
Yeah.
Arabic in Syria and Iraq. But
But you know,
yeah,
even when you go from like
I've been,
when you go from like my dad's village to like another
yeah.
village, the Kurdish dialect, they just change it up, bruv. They just go with
It's
the
like
flow.
accent and stuff as well. But I mean, I think a lot of it is to do with the fact that, I mean, for example, in Turkey, you're still not really allowed to practice your culture and your language
They're still
in a way.
very suppressed. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah, yeah. So
suppressed.
like the other day, there was that Kurdish kid that was stabbed for listening to Kurdish music. Like, so you still got a massively
Yeah.
segregated society in a sense, because even when you go to the areas that are most populated by Kurds, there's a lack of funding. There's like,
Yeah.
it's broken down.
Of
You wouldn't.
course, the government doesn't
It's
look after those regions.
it doesn't look like Istanbul. It doesn't look like Ankara. It doesn't look like any of those places,
No, no, no,
because
no.
they keep it impoverished for a reason, because
Of course.
they know they don't, essentially they don't like the people that
Yeah.
live there, and
So
they're
yeah, exactly. For
yeah,
you, for example, like where you're from, you're from like Kurdistan, right? For
yeah.
me, it's like kind of fucked, because for people that don't know much about Kurdish people, this is actually a good podcast for you. But like, whereas you're like, I'm from Kurdistan. I say I'm from Turkey, I'm Kurdish. It's like when I'm in Turkey, even when I was playing football in Turkey when I was like 16, 17, and 19, I'm like the Kurdish boy there. And when I come here, I'm like the Turkish or Kurdish boy here. It's like I'm like a lost soul, bruv. You kind of don't know
I,
what to say. Do you know what I
I,
mean?
but I think, I mean, for me, like it was always important for me for people to realize that I am Kurdish when I
Yeah,
was when I made a decision to go into stand-up comedy, right?
yeah,
Because I didn't ever want to be that person that hid their identity and became racially ambiguous and whatever, because I feel it's
yeah,
important for, although I see myself massively as British, don't get me wrong, because
yeah,
like
yeah.
at the end of the
Same.
day, I'm a Londoner, innit?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's nothing I can do to stop that. Like I grew up listening to hip hop from South London. Do you know
And
what I mean? Like
grime. Yeah, of course.
East
Yeah,
End. Do you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff is deeply embedded in me. But at the end of the day, I can't forget my roots. And for me, it was always very important to become a role model, not even necessarily a role model, but to provide some sort of like hope for younger Kurdish kids when they go, oh, he's Kurdish. Like, he doesn't say he's anything
No,
else.
well, you are. When I saw you, and when I saw your name, Kae Kurd, someone sent me your profile, a video that you made that I was like, oh shit, this video is so relatable to my parents. When you did that video about when you're talking to your parents, when you're reading the letter and stuff,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
video
yeah,
that
yeah.
was so relatable to me, and I was like, fuck, I'm so proud of that, brother. Kurdish stand-up comedian.
But this
I
is
was
it.
like, yes,
This is it. I wanted people like yourself to be like, oh my God, I can say I'm Kurdish. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
because we've got him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
and not just me. I want there to be a whole heap of young Kurds, particularly in this country, that go, yeah. The same way you've got people in the Greek community, you've got some the same people in like different cultures. Like Idris Elba will proudly say he's got like Sierra Leonean heritage as well as Ghanaian heritage, and people like John Boyega is very proud of his Nigerian heritage as well. I just wanted. I want to be able to be in a place where it's like, yeah, I'm very much British, but also like I'm Kurdish in it. So if you're a young Kurdish kid in this country that you think, oh, I can't be a stand-up comedian, or I can't be a like, do you know what I mean, an actor or whatever, you're like, no, we've got him. Like I can do it. Do you know what I mean? And he doesn't hide from the fact. And I know for a lot of people, I think for a lot of Kurdish people, particularly young Kurds, it is very hard to even just say they're Kurdish, because it's the answer that you give is a very political answer all the time, right?
Yeah.
So in order for you to tell somebody where, and I put this in my special Kurd Your Enthusiasm on YouTube, you can go and check that out. But just telling somebody where you're from is a long sentence. Like So I know for a lot of people, they just say they're Turkish and whatever, but they say they're Turkish or Iraqi or Iranian, whatever. But for me, I could never relate to that, because I was like, these people are killing my people on a daily basis. I've been on marches since I was 8-9 years old. Where
same
like,
in London.
I'm protesting this shit. Like, so at the end of the day, I can't say I'm with that, because I have more in common with a Kurd from Diyarbakir than I do with an Arab from Baghdad.
Yeah, of
Do you
course.
see where I'm coming from? Like,
Of course.
So to say to myself, like, oh yeah, I'm Iraqi, it can't, like, I can't say that. I physically can't say those words for me. But then again, I understand I was in a position where I was raised by people that were firmly involved in the struggle. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, my dad is literally in battle. So I understand that I had a strong sense of identity and who I was and where I was from. And I came from a family like that. For a lot of people, they probably didn't have that. So I don't dispute it, but I feel like with what I do, what you do yourself, if you feel proud with your identity and you're like, yo, I'm Kurdish, I'm out there. There will be a young child watching your shit going, oh my days, like, you're Kurdish, and you're like, yeah. And then they're like, bro, I didn't even know you do this stuff, because you get a lot of them saying, oh, you can only be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or the other ones
exactly
becoming a barber or a kebab shop owner or a cash and carrier. Do you see what I'm saying? There's a certain amount of, so either you take the educational route or these little small businesses, but there's nothing. It feels like there's a glass ceiling in certain aspects. So it's always wonderful to be able to provide that beacon of hope for a lot of the younger generation.
Yeah, of course. I was on I got invited to go on a Turkish TV, a morning show, pretty big one. It had like something like 20 million viewers or something like that. And I said, as a Kurdish Turk in London, I pointed out all the Kurds in London, all of that. And I had so many messages from people going, oh, fuck, that was very brave of you to mention that you're Kurdish. I was like, why? I was like, we're all people at the end of the day.
But the problem is, because if there was a Kurd living in Turkey that did that, there'd be massive repercussions.
Bro, but this is the thing. When things were popping off for the Kurds, like, was it 6 months ago in Turkey when things were going mad?
I mean, it's always popping off. Like right now, they're
popping off. Yeah.
By Kurdish cities in Syria, like Afrin.
Yeah. But I couldn't. I said to my dad, I was like, Dad, I want to do a post about this to like help Kurdish people, maybe do like something with charity, do something. He's like, you need to understand that. He goes, you're probably not, your profile probably isn't big enough to make a huge difference at the minute, but it's big enough to get their attention. And if you want to see your grandparents and not get arrested going into Turkey, you got to be a little bit careful with what you say. And I'm like, fuck, this is so annoying, because I want to go see my family, but I don't want to go get arrested, because, bro, if I want to keep my Turkish passport, I still have to do military service. You know that?
Yeah, but You see, that's something I would never do. But I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah, of course, I know, I
I
know, I
did
know.
I like so a few years ago there was not a few years ago. We're talking about pre-Iraq war. There was
Yeah,
no international airports in the Kurdish region of Iraq, right? So in
yeah,
Kurdistan, there was no, like, you didn't have the one in Slimani, you didn't have the international airport in Erbil. All you had was the route to get to there was either through Turkey or
yeah,
through Iran.
yeah,
Now, I did that route twice with my parents,
yeah.
and I'd never felt so, like, you know, do you know what? There's a like, if you look at the border between Turkey and Iraq, there's a Top Gear episode where they go through it.
I see that. Yeah, I know which
Yeah,
one you're talking about. Yeah,
and
yeah,
Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Hammond, they're there, and they're talking about this is probably one of the most scariest borders we've been at.
yeah, 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 yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
that's three white men saying that, right? That's
yeah,
three
yeah,
white men
yeah, yeah,
because they hold you up for no reason. They
yeah, of
hold you up
course.
for no reason.
Yeah,
They know who you are. They know why you're going there.
yeah,
And I remember I'd never felt such a attack on myself or my family, like an attack on your humanity, right?
yeah,
It was basic things, bruv. Like, they were like, oh yeah, we need to search your bags, right?
yeah.
And like, they take your bag off you, and then they open it up, and then they just throw all your clothes on the floor, on
I
the concrete
know.
floor.
Yeah,
Yeah, on the concrete floor, bruv. And they look at you like you're subhuman. They've got these rifles pointed at you and whatever. And what,
yeah,
like, I'm like 12, I
yeah,
think, at the
yeah,
time. And the
yeah,
next time we were like 15. And
yeah,
it's like, for you to experience that, you're like, why am I? I've got a British passport at the end of the day, right?
yeah,
Like, I'm British, but because you know that my background is Kurdish,
yeah,
like, just mere thought of that,
yeah.
it it makes you want to exercise some sort of power over me, and make me feel like I'm a lesser person. And
What?
that it's hard when you see, like, you're with your parents and you're a young kid like
Of
that, and you're
course.
seeing them
You see
having
your
to.
mum and your dad in that position. It's frustrating. And you know what? Similar things are happening in America now with like black people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, of course, and but I mean, this is the thing, right? This is why, whenever I see these atrocities happening in America and in Britain,
Yeah.
it constantly rams home that kind of feeling that I've had. Do you know what I mean?
You've
Like,
had the
when I
experience. Yeah, I've had 100%. Even, you know, when I was playing football in Turkey, right? 16 years old, going for trials for like big clubs out there. And like, they would ask me, where are you from, Diren? We're going to the mosque. Are you coming to pray? I'm like, no, I'm a Kurdish. I live here. I don't pray. Straight away.
yeah, and
I
for
felt
people who
division.
don't know, it's a different religion. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I
yeah.
was like fucked in so many ways. I was fucked with being Kurdish. I was fucked with not going to the mosque. And I was fucked from my dad's political views because my name in Turkish means resist, right?
Yeah,
Diren.
yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah.
I've got it from so many angles. For me to even sign for a club is such a struggle. I'm going into the trial. The coach asks me, what's your name? My name's Diren. Straight away, he knows my dad's political view. Straight away. And
Yeah.
when it comes
He
to
either thinks that he knows you're either Kurdish or a communist.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And my parents, and they were political refugees. So my
Yeah,
dad
of
had to
course.
leave because they were fighting against fascism in Istanbul. They used
Yeah,
to have gangs that used to fight against fascist gangs. My dad was arrested when he was 18 and got tortured under a school for a month. He was missing, and no one knew this. And obviously, I wouldn't have been around if that happened. But if I remember my grandma telling me like your dad went missing for a month. We didn't know if he was alive or not. And he comes out and they tied all the 18-year-olds up that were kind of left wing. They tied them all up and they used to make them listen to the police torturing their elders for a month in like water, in like under a school with water and just dark, all tied up. That sort of fuckery is like, and that's why when my dad, when someone gets aggressive to my dad, right, in London, and you get these youths going mad, my dad's like, I'm like, Dad, calm down, please, because
well, this is it. Like, yeah, and you don't understand the post-traumatic stress disorder that your parents have probably had to go through. Like, when,
yes,
like, my dad to this day, if you drop a pot or pan or whatever, and there's a loud sound, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing, kind of thing, because it's like, you it's hard for you to envisage what they've been through. Like I know my dad probably seen. I know for a fact he's seen his best friends die. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
He said when they were fighting, when they were like part of the armed struggle, he's like they joke about who'd die first. He's like,
That's mad.
he's like you're gonna be martyred first, and he's like, nah, you're gonna be martyred first, and whatever.
No
And it's like,
way.
yeah,
That's
because
mad.
like they literally so the name for fighters that they had was Peshmerga.
Okay.
So it means those who face death. Pirsh, like in front of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was like those who are in front of death. So they literally didn't
No.
believe they were going to survive, but they were so committed to the cause. This is why I often find it funny when I tell people, right? People are often like, "Oh, what do you think of what do you think needs to be done in order to tackle, for example, police brutality in this country and further around the world, like America and what's?" And I always tell people like the solutions are uncomfortable. The
Yeah.
solutions are madly uncomfortable. Like you've got it will involve like possibly putting your life at risk.
Yeah.
It will involve a lot of this stuff, and for a lot of us, are we down for that? Like, do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, are you prepared? Do you believe in a struggle that much for you to leave your friends and family and whatever, and possibly even the chance to have children, have, do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
To
grow
give
old or
up
whatever.
to
Because
give up your
you believe,
luxuries, bruv. To give up your luxuries,
yeah,
all of that.
you
I
believe
don't
in the cause so much,
Yeah.
and and it is a hard conversation for a lot of people to have. That's why when people try and say, "Oh, you do a bit of activism," I'm like, "Bro, don't call me an activist. Like real
Yeah.
activists
Yeah.
dedicate their life to this stuff, right? Me
Yeah.
telling jokes on stage about where I'm from is not activism." And I know people go, "Yeah, but it's still something." Like, bro, do not get it
It's not.
misconstrued.
It's not.
Right?
It's different. It's
Think
very different.
it's like right now, like when you're seeing the protests for Black Lives Matter in America and whatever. Like,
Yeah.
if you look a few years back when they were protesting in Ferguson,
Yeah.
a lot of those protesters, ever since then, have coincidentally all died.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Suicide or died in accidents and whatever. And it's
Yeah.
like, I'm not saying
You're not
anything
saying
bad,
nothing, but yeah, I hear what you're saying.
but I
But
mean, you've got to understand when you put yourself in that sort of position, it's going to
yeah.
come with risks.
Yeah, I think I get like when I talk to people about that as well, and especially when people see my Instagram, they see me doing like funny videos and they see me doing fitness videos and all of that stuff. And when I talk about politics with them one to one, or even my last podcast, I spoke about like racism and all that stuff with someone else, they were
Yeah.
shocked with my knowledge on it, and I was like, I'm not, like you said, an activist, but you live through your parents' experiences just like I have. You've heard them speak about it, they've told you about it, and it's weird.
You
It's
got
like,
to, even you going on protests at 8, 9 years old or
yeah,
whatever. Like, do
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like you've been embedded within that struggle
Yeah, of course.
for a very, very long
Bruv,
time.
it's in
Like,
my name, bruv.
yeah,
Resistance. It's in my
yeah.
name, bruv. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad. It's like,
Whether you like it or not, like just your mere existence is political. Like whether you like
yeah,
it or not.
yeah,
Like you having to tell people your identity. It only takes you meeting a Turk in London, for example, and they go, "What's Kurd? Kurds don't
yeah,
exist." And
yeah.
you end up in that sort of
Debate.
not this,
Yeah.
not this kind of thing. Do
Straight
you see
away.
what I'm saying?
But that's
Like, and
why,
I've always,
but that's why, like, when I talk to like Turkish guys, when I chat to Turks in London, and especially where I am now, usually I meet all the Kurds in that in North London, right? So when I meet people, especially Turks, I'm like, yeah, I'm Kurdish. But with like anyone else, my entry level is Turkish, and then I'll talk about being a Kurd. But with Turks, I'm always like, yeah, I'm Kurdish. My mum's from here, my dad's from here. And it's good to make that clear on the get-go, because it doesn't allow them to talk shit. Because if they did, then I would be fuming. Do you know what I mean? And then it always
it,
ends up in some madness.
the most racism I've experienced in this country, because people always bang on about it. I mean, don't get me wrong, like this country has its own race issues as well, but the most racism I've experienced in this country has been from Turks and Arabs. Like
Oh, okay,
that's
yeah,
the most racism I've
yeah.
experienced in the country particularly.
I hear you.
Like even when
It would be
I put up videos,
spiteful. They would say spiteful things.
well, bro, like for as an example, for like when I was 15, I went to A&E. I was playing football. The ball hit my finger, and like I think I damaged a tendon or whatever in there. I went to
Yeah,
A&E, and a doctor was an Egyptian guy, and he was like, "Oh, you lot." Kurds, what's that? You lot fire worshippers, what this, that, the other, like, and you're like, bro, like, I'm 15, I'm here in A&E, like,
Yeah.
what's your beef, bro? Like,
Yeah. And but that's the thing though. He has to talk to a kid like
interrogate,
that.
trying to like
Yeah.
demean you or whatever. He's like, what's your name? Where you from? Kind of thing. Oh, what's that name from? Oh, like, these aren't questions that doctors should be asking someone. Do
Yeah,
you see
of
where I'm
course.
coming from?
Yeah.
Like in order to fucking dent your confidence as a young man while you're in A&E, where you're probably, I mean, come on, like, it's not like I had a life-threatening disease or whatever,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you're vulnerable in those situations, especially when you're alone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, but you know what? It's mad. Like in England, if it was an English person, you wouldn't have to worry about that. If it was an
Yeah,
English person, you wouldn't worry about that. But if it's someone that comes from that region where there's so much happening, you know they're
yeah,
asking for a bad reason. You know what I mean? And it's
yeah,
funny because they will, isn't it mad? Like, like Muslims talk shit about Muslims, and it's like even worse over there. And the way they go on, whatever he's asking you there, he would probably hate you more than, if he is a racist, would hate you more than he would hate an English kid coming in. He would treat the English kid like his own, but then
yeah,
someone that's next door, like next door neighbor to his country, will treat him like shit and interrogate him. It's
yeah,
fucked,
yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
And
yeah. It's
but even like, I think, like, I don't know, you tell me what you think. I think compared to America, with the police and stuff in the UK, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I actually think when people complain about the police in the UK, I'm like, bruv, I've seen police all over the world. We're lucky here compared
Well, I
to
mean, I
other
think
places.
the thing we're lucky about is the fact that they don't have guns.
That, yeah, that's
That's the only thing we're lucky about.
okay.
Otherwise, I mean, it's not to say that it's not to say that they don't have their own issues as well. I mean, I don't know
Of
if you
course
saw
there
on
is, yeah.
social media that there's a whole list um, of black people that have been mistreated by police. I mean, we don't even have to go that far back. The vilification of Mark Duggan and the way
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that sparked the 2011 riots, like, and that was when police had guns.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Do
Yeah,
you see
yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
coming
yeah.
from? Like,
So
I
you're
think the
saying
one thing,
with the gun, there's that element of power, that power trip.
well, it's essentially police officers are often afforded the luxury of, oh, they pulled the trigger because they were panicking or they were following an order. Remember Jean Charles de Menezes, the
Yeah,
poor
yeah, yeah.
Brazilian guy that got shot in Stockwell,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
Stockwell
yeah,
Station. There's a mosaic outside the station of his
yeah.
face to this day because he was shot wrongfully by police as well because they thought he was a terrorist when he wasn't. And it's like the fact of the matter is there the I mean, police nowhere I think are perfect anyway, but the police are afforded the luxury of being able to panic
Yeah,
when they're in that situation and they're like, oh, they pulled the trigger because they were under duress, this, that, and that.
yeah,
But they expect you or somebody else to be absolutely calm when you've
yeah,
got a gun in their face or whatever,
yeah,
right? And do you know what? Just the mere sight of authority
yeah,
can be intimidating.
yeah.
Now, that's not to, like, listen. I mean, a lot of the time, people come from a position where they've never been stopped by the police or whatever, so they don't know
They don't know.
what
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like. They don't have that. They don't have that insight. They're like, well, I'm sure the police were just doing their job, but you,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I hate
but,
that. I hate that. No, they
but
wouldn't think that. No, I'm
yeah,
like,
if you
bro, you
never
have
had
no
that
idea.
interaction with police, you would
Yeah,
never. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
You're like, yeah, well, what was the guy doing? Like, they
yeah,
often end up blaming the victim or whatever, but you don't. I mean, it look how long it takes to become a teacher.
yeah,
Like, do you know what I mean? Look how long it takes to become a doctor. Look how long it takes to become a whole heap of these professions, right?
yeah,
And you look at how long it takes to become a police officer, it pales in comparison to the time required
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
training needed. Like, it's
But I find it funny, like you said, those people that don't exactly know. And Australia was quite like that. When I first started living in Australia, people are so. I love Australia, and the people are really nice. And sometimes they're so far away from, let's just say, action, they don't realize there is people that have bad intentions. So
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, man. Like, Australia's a whole different kind of fish. You know, up until the 70s, they classed black people as flora and fauna. which means
Aboriginals, the Aboriginals, yeah. Well, they're
yeah,
Aboriginals are suppressed,
yeah.
bro. Do you know what I mean?
But do you know what that means to be classed as flora and fauna? They were literally classed as plants. They weren't classed as humans up until the 70s.
That's mad. Actually, I do remember watching a documentary on that. They were doing protests in Canberra in front of their. Yeah, I do remember. I do remember. That's
But do
mad.
you see how crazy that is? Like
Yeah,
for them, and the 70s ain't that far away, you know.
yeah. But you know, bro, and I've spoken to. What's crazy is because in Australia, it's not as multicultural as the UK, right?
Oh,
And
100%.
some of the people that I've spoken to out there, they haven't even chatted to a black person. They haven't chatted to a black person, right? And this guy, one day we're at football training and he just casually dropped the N word. And I was like, bruv, I was like, fam, no, that's not, say, you can't be saying that. He goes, what, mate? I'm only joking. And I'm like, bruv, I said, listen,
Even as,
but
yeah.
you say that in London, you say that anywhere, bruv, you'll get licked in the face. I was like, it's not a
Yeah.
joke. I was like, and I think it's hard for people because, like, I guess racism is an act of ignorance, but it's just they don't know because some people have never had that struggle or been suppressed in a way, they don't know what it feels like. So therefore, they feel like they can just say random things like that. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like it's my duty if I'm there and I'm like, if I don't say nothing, I'm like, I feel like a coward.
Well, but that comes from a place where you've obviously you've been on the other end of it, and you realize what it's like to be made to feel subhuman by
Yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
Just
Of course.
like
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
So when you're seeing it happen to another,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like why some people ask me like, why do you care so much about like Black Lives Matter and whatever? And I'm like, because my people literally go through the same thing in Turkey, Iran, Iraq,
yeah, yeah,
Syria,
yeah, yeah,
and across the whole of the Middle East. Do you see where I'm coming from?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when I see it over here and stuff, like immediately it brings back that kind of trauma that you're going through there. Do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
we may put on happy faces through social media and this, that, the other, right?
yeah,
But at the back of your mind, there is always like you still all that stuff still stays with you. Like
bro,
I'm
100%.
sure when you go to Turkey, I'm sure when you go to Turkey and you tell some people you're Kurdish, there are some people have certain attitudes and belief towards that.
Of
They'll probably
course.
call you a mountain Turk or this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Of course.
those kind of phrases, which is for those that don't know, it's another derogatory term that they use.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Where
yeah.
they'll call you a mountain Turk, so they don't even call you like they class you as like goats and shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah, of course. They say things to belittle you. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
And because I have
making people feel
experienced that exactly, and which is fucked, and it's crazy, and it still happens in today's day and age. It's
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So when you see, that's what I'm saying. When you see people using the N word or whatever, you're like, bro, don't do that because you know
yeah,
exactly, not exactly like, but
yeah,
you know how it feels to be made to feel like that. So
yeah, and
you're like, don't make somebody else feel like that, man.
yeah.
Please.
And yesterday, when like I did a post, like, and I just put pictures of all my black boys, right? And I was like, oh, there's
Oh,
so
don't tell me
much.
I've got black friends too thing.
No, 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 not like that, not like that, not like that, not like that. I just dropped a caption about like
I'm racist.
racism and being. I've got yes, I have black friends too. I'm not racist. You know, that's like the most common. It's the most common thing that's said in it when someone says they're not racist. I have black friends, but
Yeah, yeah.
what I was saying was I was like, I wanted to make a point, but it was very hard for me to do a post because in my head there's like so much that can be said on this topic. And I'm like, I didn't exactly know what to say because there's like so much in my head. But even the whole like everyone going Blackout Tuesday or whatever, I don't know if like, I don't know. I don't know who started that. I don't know exactly why that happened. Because in my head, I was thinking, all I could see was in my head, I was like, I
So
get
from
that.
my understanding,
Go
yeah,
on.
from my understanding, bro, it was started off by two black women in the music industry, and it was an idea for the music industry to
Okay. Yeah.
to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
on
Yeah. Yeah.
pause,
Yeah.
to use that day not to have like essentially a day off, but to not post anything self promotion wise, but to promote the black struggle
Yeah.
and for people to educate themselves and send each other links and stuff about that, right?
Yeah.
I think what it then turned into was like people putting black squares over the whole Black Lives Matter hashtag, which ended up
Oh,
like
blocking
pressing,
out the content that should be seen.
yeah. And I think from my point of view, what annoys me about a lot of social media activism is it becomes trendy for the minute.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is people satisfying their own conscience. Now, I spoke about this in my last special. People sit there, they do that, and they go, "Oh, great, I did something." And it's like, well, did you? Like, apart from you telling yourself, "I've done something," and you satisfying your own conscience, have you actually enacted any sort of change? Now, and I felt for a lot of people, a lot of celebs and a lot of brands that did it, it made them sort of absolve themselves of any responsibility. It made them feel like, right, we've put this up, now we're cool, we're fine. But it's like, what are you really doing? Like, I mean, you look at a lot of these brands and how tone deaf they can be, because they don't have any black people in like making the real decisions in their companies, or any sort of people of color. Do you see what I'm saying? They don't have anybody like making these sorts of decisions that allows them to have a very nuanced view on a lot of these matters. And there's a lot of people that you saw putting up the posts that quite possibly still have a lot of racist characteristics that they don't understand and they haven't taken the time out to learn. But because they've seen everybody else put it up, they're like, oh shit, I don't want to be felt left out. I don't want to do. I mean, we saw when they had the blue
for Paris.
No, for Sudan. Remember the
for Sudan? That was for Sudan. Yeah, sorry.
And they had the yellow ones for Rojava, for
yeah.
And it doesn't do anything. And then even when you had like the Je suis Charlie ones, when they had the French flag for the French embassies, for the French terrorist attacks and stuff. Sorry.
Yeah.
When you saw that stuff, it's a very nice way of saying, "Oh yeah, well I did my bit. Look at that, I did my bit, and now like let's go back to normal." It's like, and again, we can see like in this country over the past month or so, and even longer, where people were clapping for the NHS every Thursday.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the government announced there's going to be a public sector pay freeze, which means that nurses won't be getting a pay rise. So it's like, what we're doing is clapping on one hand, but what we're doing in action doesn't correlate.
Doesn't go hand in hand. Yeah.
Empty gestures are all very well and good to make you feel better, but unless it's enacting some sort of change. And the fact of the matter is, when you tell a lot of people, oh, you need to do this, this, and this, they don't want to do it because it goes to what we were saying earlier. It makes them uncomfortable. It makes them uncomfortable.
And they can't even discuss it because they're, number one, I feel like there is people that have the fear of coming across racist in conversation because they don't know exactly what to say to the other person, and they feel like they might be judged as a racist from the other person, therefore they don't speak their mind. But I'm always like,
there's a lot of listening to reply rather than listening to actually hear what's being said and understanding it and digesting it for that reason as well. People are just ready to go, but rather than
understand it. Yeah, exactly. And I'm guilty of that in arguments. I'm not going to lie. But when it comes to stuff like this, I think
it shouldn't be an argument. This is the issue. It shouldn't be an argument.
This shouldn't be an argument.
You put people on a spot and they're like, oh, no, but like, no, what are you talking about? No, bruv. Like, but how about, what about? And it's just like, no, like, just shut up and listen. Like, But that's the thing, for example, like with the NHS claps, for example, everybody's clapping, whatever, NHS staff. Bang, 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 bang.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna need you lot to pay a bit more tax to give them a pay. Oh no, mate.
No.
Yeah. Bruv, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
No, I can't do that. Can't. Nah, bruv. What do you mean? Like it. And this is why I say with anybody, man. Like, if you want change to happen, you're gonna feel uncomfortable. It's like losing weight.
Yeah.
Losing weight, like it. People love the idea of losing weight and having a six-pack, but when it comes down to it, like, are you really ready for the sacrifices you need to make it happen?
They're not consistent. They don't do the bits they need to do, and I see this every single day. And you're exactly right. It's exactly like that.
Go to the gym. It's raining. You got to go to the gym.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're hungry. Delivery's there, but you got to cook. Like, do you know what I mean? It's all things that make you uncomfortable. It's going out to that extra mile in order to get where you need to. And a lot of people, you can tell by the decisions they make in their daily life, they're never ready for that.
They're not. No.
Like, I mean, this whole, bruv, they started a whole movement saying being fat's okay, just because it couldn't be.
You
Don't get me
talking?
wrong.
Yeah,
Hold
yeah,
on, don't get me wrong. That's not me saying anything fat phobic. I think, like, listen, if you want to be the size you are and you want to be confident about it, fuck it, do it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When you start telling people, like, it's like when the whole backlash Adele got for losing weight.
That
It's
was
like
mental. It's like, why are
her
you
losing weight
shitting on
is
her
fat
for?
phobic.
It's
Yeah,
crazy.
her losing weight is fat phobic. I was like, are you fucking out of your mind, bruv? Like, she wanted to do it for her own benefit. Like,
It's
do you know how hard
mental.
it is?
It's like you want to get into better shape to be healthier, to be more active, be happier, and she got
Yeah.
shit for it, which is fucking crazy, bro. Oh, I couldn't believe
Bill
that. That's
Burr,
so funny you
Bill
said
Burr
that.
is a comedian. Bill Burr, a comedian. He's got a great bit on that where he's talking about how, like, the reason he applauds people losing weight. He's like, do you know how fucking hard it is? He's like, you know how fucking hard it is. You gotta do sit-ups. You gotta eat salad. He's like, people say it's expensive to eat healthy. Have you been in a supermarket? They're throwing carrots at you. They're throwing carrots at you. And he's just like, how, like, it's easy to put on weight. That's why he'll never applaud it. He's like, I can sit there with
Yeah,
my cheeseburger, watching a game, having a beer. It's the fucking most easy. He's like, that's why he'll never applaud it, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Which is
How
always a funny
how
thing.
did you how did you get into, like, when did you decide, like, I'm gonna be a comedian, like, or because you know what's funny?
You know what,
I'm Yeah, go
yeah.
on, go on, go on. You
No, you
go.
go on first. You
I was
said
gonna say, I feel like people from our region of the world, there's always, I feel like we've got that bit of like, even like, people say I'm funny, right? But I'm like, I don't think I'm funny. I'm just being like myself. But I think my
yeah,
dad's funny. But like, and
yeah.
my
That's
dad's just being himself. Do you know what I mean? So, and I just feel like
I
people
think
from
we
that,
come from a culture. I think we come from a culture where everybody had to sort of find like the bright side of things and have to like. So like,
yes,
do you know what I mean? Like, so it's why a lot of I feel like I mean people always say the best art sort of comes from struggle and pain
yeah,
and that kind of stuff, right? So that's why a lot of the comedians in America, I would say, are black African American, right? A black
yeah,
comedian because
yeah,
like they've been through stuff. Like the best comedians here are working class comedians. Do you see what I'm saying? There's been some sort of struggle to get to there,
yeah,
like. So you're right. Like back home, like when I'm around my cousins, there is no way I want to bust joke because they're
bro.
so funny.
Yes,
When they're roasting each other, I'm like, for fuck's sake, like you wouldn't even think these guys are related. But when somebody else gets involved, they will back each other, and then they get
yeah,
at
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
else.
yeah,
And you're like,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and I don't feel like I'm as funny as them, but that's why like they're like, what, you're funny, yeah? Like, and do you know what I mean?
They
They,
roast you.
they don't understand the idea that this could even be a profession because they're like, what are you fucking talking about? We just do this stuff while we're having shisha every day. Like, what's
Yeah, 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 yeah,
this
yeah.
nonsense you're talking about? So, but I completely think that a lot of that trying to find a humor in things it was designed for them to just sort of like as a coping mechanism. That's why like when you hear a lot of comedians when they're like, oh yeah, I just started out because I was like the funniest guy, like I was on a corner like chatting shit and whatever, and then it's like they started doing stand up and people are like, this guy's fucking hilarious and whatever. And it's great to see though. Like I honestly
It
feel like
is.
when you don't like what's I don't find any comedian that's just like had it all when they were growing up funny because I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like this,
Yeah,
I
if they
don't.
do, if they are, they're probably just using other people's material.
But it's
You know what I
just
mean?
like I feel like there has to be some sort of thing there for you to like. Why are you doing this? If your life is perfect, why you like you're. Think about everybody you know with money and that had it all. They're all fucking boring fucks, bro.
It's so true. It's
We
so
went,
true.
we went to Monaco. It was great. We went
Yeah,
skiing.
yeah, yeah.
The fuck are you complaining about? You know, it's like Dion Cole is an American comedian. He's like, I can't. He's like, you know, when you're with your rich friends and they start like telling you about their problems that aren't really problems. Like,
Yeah,
you get like leather interior and you got like bitches in the back and they got their heels on and they fuck it up.
yeah.
Man, fucked up, ain't it? And he's like, you're looking at him like, no, motherfucker, I don't know what that feels like. And it's the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you like there has to be an element of relatability there, and we sort of use that. And the reason I got into comedy was I was just like I was always just funny around people. I think when I was younger, I was fat, right?
Yeah.
I was like I probably still am. When
No,
I
you're good. You're
was
good.
through secondary school, I was fat in it, and like I had to find a way for people to I was no, because I was never the best at sports. Like, listen, I was all right at football to the point where it's like, yo, stick me in defense. I'll come out. I'll come out a couple times, bang in a goal, and then run back. and then I'll chill there for a bit. You see
You
what I'm
had your
saying? Like,
moments. You had your moments, but you were the guy in the changing room that was grilling everyone. The banter.
I would give shit to the other people, bruv. Oh my
Yeah.
god, like my shit talk game was A1, like where people would get pissed off with me, like from the other team, swearing at me, whatever. But like I was always good with like I could ping in a ball accurately from far, like a long ball from far. But it was like when it came to like actually running up and down and whatever, I was like, this is long, bruv. Stick me in. I'll be in defense. It's cool. I'll be centre back. It's cool. Or right back or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was like humor was sort of like I became funny kind of thing where it's okay, shit, like because I got cussed as well for like I used to get like cussed a lot of the time about my weight and a lot of different things, and it's like.
But to some element that is. You are not, maybe not, the word isn't suppressed, but there is that element of struggle that made you the person that you are. You know, it's exactly that.
A lot of it was verbal bullying. Like I hated going to school for a whole year, bro. Because people were talking about your size, your haircuts, and you know, like my parents never let me go out and my parents were like, no, I'll do my haircut myself. Like, what do you mean you're going bad?
Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff. And you're going, oh, for fuck's sake, man. I just want to have a normal haircut.
Oh, but that's why I became a personal trainer, because I always had weight problems. I was playing football. I was a decent footballer, but my weight was always an issue with football. So I had to learn how to become a good coach, to coach myself. And that's why I think people find me relatable, because I know how they feel.
That helped you?
Sorry?
What was the first thing that helped you? What were the first things that helped you when you became a coach?
I first became a coach to help myself become a better athlete at football, right? And that happened.
What mechanism did you use to help yourself?
Say that again.
What mechanisms did you use to help yourself? Like, did you think, all right, cool. What I guess what I'm asking is like, how did you do that? Do you see where I'm coming from? Like, how did you become the coach for yourself?
Basically, I was one of my tutors at college. I studied, because I loved sports so much. When I was in college, I was like, okay, it's smart that I do like BTEC level sport or whatever. My tutor at the time, she was like, Diren, you'd be a great coach. Like the way you train and the way you talk to people. The word she said, I said this on my last podcast, is she said that you have a very believable face. I believe everything that you say. She was like, you should become a coach. It's good,
People can't buy likability. That's the one thing people can't buy. Likability will get you far in life.
Yeah.
People can tell you're a cunt.
Yeah. But you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Funny you say that. That's actually opened a lot of doors for me. I've always been nice to people, and I've always wanted to help people. And even like, for example, if I was a multi-millionaire, I would rather have someone around that I can teach that I like than someone that has got fucking his masters in this and that or whatever, but he's a fucking little prick. Do you know what I mean? You just don't want him around. You'd rather have the person that you like around. You know what I mean? And I feel like because of that, I've been around the people that I've learned from, and it's like kind of made me who I am today. Do you know what I mean? But that's why I became a coach. Yeah, that's why I became a coach, because I wanted to be a better version of myself. And then when I helped people and I saw people progressing, losing weight, and seeing how they felt, I was like, fuck, this actually feels good. And then it just took off from there, to be honest. But that's how it happened. Yeah. Did
you ever, like, when you were first trying to lose weight, were you doing like the mistakes other people do, like starving yourself?
Yes, bro. Everything. I did everything. I did no carbs. I even went vegetarian, keto, Cambridge diet, this diet. The only difference is with people is I just did it a lot earlier, so I learned quicker. So that's why when people are going through those things and when they're telling me about it, I know. And I'm like, and do you also feel like this? They're like, yeah, how do you know? And I'm like, because I fucking did it. And this is why all the personal trainers with their genetically lean guys that with their six pack and this and that, which is fine, but they don't understand, just like the whole racist thing, they don't know the struggle through that. So they don't completely understand. So it's easy for them to brush off.
There'll be a lot of guys on social media, just get off your ass and run. Go for a run. Get that fucking cake out of your mouth. It's simple. If you follow my 6-step guide, you will lose weight. You will get the six-pack you want. All it takes is hard work. It's like, nah, bruv. Like, I started off as a fat cunt. Like, just, like, you started off.
Teach me.
You've had abs since birth, and now you're chatting shit because you took Diana for 4 cycles. And, and now you're anyway.
But you're training now, though. You're training. I see you making moves on the training. How's that going?
So so basically, when I was 18, I joined a gym and whatever, and I remember, bro, I couldn't do deadlifts. I remember I did deadlifts with, I think it was one of them 15 kg weights you get at 50 Fitness
Yeah,
First.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
the
yeah,
longer
yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And I remember waking up the day after, right, and my back was in bits. And this is doing deadlifts with 15 kg weights, bro.
Yeah.
But then, like,
You were probably
um,
doing it wrong. You were probably maybe weren't doing it right.
no, I was doing it right.
Yeah.
But it was like, because I'd never worked that before. Like,
Okay. Okay.
I'd never done a deadlift before. My body was like, what are you doing, bro? What are you, 20 reps of this shit? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like and but from there, like, I fell in love with like weights. I
Yeah.
hate cardio. I
Yeah.
can't stand cardio, and it was always very hard for me to commit to a football team or something like that. Or
Yeah. It's
like
a lot of work.
yeah, it's a lot of work, especially if you ain't getting paid. It's like you got to
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
love that shit. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be honest, man, the idea of traveling to like Accrington on a Saturday morning when it's raining and shit, like,
I did that for years, man.
did not appeal
Yeah.
to me, innit? You know,
Yeah.
when I see guys a semi-pro going, I got to get, did not appeal. I'm like, so when do you get a lion? Oh, I don't really get lion. You know, oh, fuck that. Bro.
That was me. I was that guy. I was that guy. That's funny. Yeah, but and then you just carried on training.
So I just carried on doing weights and stuff. So like at one point I was deadlifting 100, not deadlifting, sorry. I was squatting 160 kg. I was deadlifting like about the same amount and stuff as well. And
Sick.
I was strong. And then I was like, why am I trying to like use all this? I think at one point I got injured in it. Like I twinged something on my back in it. And I was like, what am I doing this for? I'm not competing.
Yeah.
Competing, like I'm not getting paid to do this or whatever. Why do I care so much about this shit? So then, like I literally go to the gym now as a mental health thing. So like, I don't care how much weight I'm carrying or whatever, but I'm like, as long as I'm maintaining where I'm at and I'm getting there, it's cool. During lockdown, it was the hardest transition for me to make, right? Because I went from someone that's used to banging weights 5 times a week to like
nothing.
Okay,
Doing band workouts at home.
Bands, man. Listen, resistance bands are the Gucci belt of the fitness industry. They're flipping. Everybody's got a flip. Why have you got a resistance band doing squats? Why have you got a resistance band doing squats and press ups? I still don't get it to this day. Like, all it is time under tension, and you lot are adding next dimensions to it. Like, you get this resistance band and you use it to do your pull ups. It can increase it. Man can't do a pull-up. I'm seeing people doing pull-ups with all the shit. Get the technique right first, and you're just adding in resistance. I see people with 3 resistance bands sometimes while they're doing a squat. You know, do you know how much that jars me? I'm like, just do 10 more.
Just do 10 more.
Just do 10 more with the right technique, rather than adding these nonsense bands to you. Anyway, So I started doing I wasn't working out for ages. I got these like 10 kg dumbbells I found off of Amazon while it was still cheap. Even then they weren't.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've trying to be. It's hard, man. Like when you're trying to do 100 push-ups just to get your chest to feel something.
Some pump.
When you're trying to, bro, like you can't, man. Like I've got the body of a stay-at-home dad right now. It's long. Like I look like I'm on nappy duty at 6 a.m.
with no kids.
Yeah, it's like my arm is literally straight. Like, you can't see a muscle anymore. Like it's ridiculous. Me, I used to have big arms. And it's scaring me, man. But
you'll be back to normal soon, and you'll be fine. Anyway,
yeah, muscle memory.
But the good thing is, bruv, fam, listen, you don't have to be in shape. You're a funny guy. You're a comedian.
No, but I do. I want to be topless on stage. Like they. I want to be doing what you and James are doing all the time. I haven't seen you all the top for ages. But in all honesty, like I've been doing 3K runs at the moment. Like I remember, I think it was early or late April. Someone tagged me in one of them 5K challenges, right? And I did 5K. It took me like 33 minutes, right? And I was like, shit, bro, what am I running for, right? Because I still hate running, right? But I've been doing this 3K run business for about 2 or 3 weeks now, and I'm doing it like 4 or 5 times a week.
That's good, bro. Just get improve on that, bro. Because you know what? Once your cardio is, the feeling, it's mad. That struggle, cardio struggle, although it's not like doing weights, but there's something very satisfying when you're finished. It's like doing something that you really hate. And when you're finished, you're like, yeah, I feel fucking good now that I've finished this. It puts your head, like your mental health is actually way better. For me, running is like therapy. That's why I do it when I go out running.
For you, for me, it's like torture in it. So like I'm doing 3 days, right? And every time I finish, I'm like, and do you know what? Like this week, where I was running in the heat, and my times were getting worse and worse every day, and I was like, "What the fuck's going on? This is meant to be easier, not harder." And but I still do it. Like the thing, because I've got like a WhatsApp group with a bunch of comedians, and we're all doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm being held accountable by other people. So when somebody puts it in the group, like, oh, for fuck's sake, they've done their run, I do mine, kind of thing. So that's what's motivating me. I tell myself it's the distance that matters. It doesn't matter what time you do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I maintain that for a lot of us that aren't professionals in this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like just moving is the biggest.
Of course, bro. Of course.
And I think the best investment I ever made was an Apple Watch.
Bruv, counting your steps, knee up 24/7. That's what I promote all the time, bruv. People getting their steps up. That's why I do it. That's why I tell people to do it. It's so easy. You look at your watch, you hold yourself accountable to get your steps up. And I know you're doing it because I've got you. I watch your activity. And you've been hitting your goals. I see it.
Bro, listen, I always hit over 1,000 calories when I'm training. Like, as in when we were at lockdown, there wasn't a day that I wasn't hitting 1,000 calories burned.
That's good.
Yeah, I know that's not massively accurate, but
yeah.
For me, that gave me a goal in my head where it's like, if I haven't done that, I need to go out for a walk. I'll take the dog for another.
But it holds you accountable. It holds you accountable. You know, when you were saying like you're in a group chat with like comedians and stuff. You know, when you were at the Apollo, how many people were in the audience?
The Hammersmith Apollo is about, I think it's like 4,500. But I think
that's amazing.
Yeah, probably like or 3,500, something like that. It was thousands of people.
Thousands of people, which is fucking crazy. And I'm assuming you would have met. Was that your first big thing? And you were like, "Fuck, this is crazy." Like, what was that moment for you being a stand-up comedian?
So, it's crazy, right? Because I think a year and a half before that, or probably a year before that, I was thinking of quitting.
Okay.
I was like, do you know what? It was so funny because, like, I think for the last series of that Apollo, I was told I wasn't ready for it.
Okay.
Right? I was told I wasn't ready for that. And when they say they're not ready for it, just means it doesn't mean that. It just means, nah, we don't want you.
We don't want you for now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I hear you.
And I was getting told this by a lot of other TV programs and stuff, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing this? Like, because I'm going out every weekend in comedy clubs and I'm doing better than these people that you're having on these shows or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Not that it's a competition, but it's like, I'm happy for them, but like, come on, man, don't try and, I'm not a dickhead in it. Don't tell me I'm shit.
What is there, like a scout? Is there like a scout that says, I'm taking you to Apollo?
I mean, it's let me go through it and I'll tell you.
Okay.
Right? So basically, the way people sort of like gain notoriety in this country traditionally through stand-up comedy is going to Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
Yeah.
And then taking a show up there. So you take a show up there and you spend 10 grand of your own money for like the venue,
okay,
accommodation, everything while you're there, right?
Yeah.
And like a handful of people have a successful year there, like where they'll get like in the newspapers, this and that. And usually the TV industry looks at that and goes, oh, they're the guys that are the best. The issue with that is there's a massive issue with accessibility of the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Like a lot of my friends had no fucking clue what it was.
Yeah.
Like a lot of working class people, or even some of my middle class friends, didn't know what the Edinburgh Fringe Festival was. So you get very middle class audience, very Radio 4 that go up there, and they probably don't understand some of the stuff you're talking about or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So for I think a lot of people, like, and I remember telling my friends to come up, and they were like the prices over there, they increased fourfold while the Fringe Festival's on.
Yeah.
Because it lasts for a month, right? So I remember telling my friends to come up, and they were like, bro, they're saying it's like £250 to stay at Travel Lodge for one night. Like,
that's for your people to come up there. That's expensive
for a week for the money that I'm spending to come and see you for like a few days, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, that sort of shit already got me thinking over there. I was like, what the fuck, right? Anyway, so I decided once all of this stuff had happened, like, because I went to Edinburgh and whatever, and like, I had a great run, don't get me wrong, but people in TV and that still weren't taking notice. And then I got to a stage where I was like, I want to quit or whatever. And one of my friends told me, she's like, listen, man, just give it your all for a year.
Yeah.
And if it happen, carry on. If they don't go, so I was like, do you know what? I've got nothing to lose. I'm gonna film a special and I'm gonna put it on YouTube.
Yeah.
Start a podcast and whatever. Started a podcast with a bunch of other comedians called Potus Fall.
Yeah.
That was doing really well at the time. Film our own special, sold out the live show for the podcast, released the special. The special went and did mad views. I think now, like, it's not even been a year yet. It's coming up to a year. It's like close to 100K views.
Sick.
Yeah, and all of this sort of stuff, like, and that was like without any PR, without me pushing it to any, like, it was just through word of mouth. It got that to that.
Yeah.
And I gained a massive following, like releasing clips and stuff like that. And like, it was speaking to people like Andrew Schultz in America and seeing like what he'd done with like just releasing clips and seeing what my friend Mo Gilligan had done here and Guz Khan. These guys I'm friends. They were successful online. I was like, listen, man, I'm just gonna release my social. I did that. That did well. And then like once they're seeing all of this stuff, like once you stop giving a fuck about the industry, and you're like, yeah, I don't care, man. I'm just doing my own thing. The way I would say is like everybody's trying to get into a club. Meanwhile, you're across the road with some rum punch with a little stool set up, and you got a little box, and you're setting up music, and then everybody in that queue sort of going, oh, hold on, wait,
what's going on there? Yeah.
Grab a drink, bro. Just vibes here. And then people are like, yeah, fuck this. I don't want to get in the club anymore. I want to be with this guy, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously the industry saw what was going on, and they're like, what the fuck? And then I remember the people from Live at the Apollo were like, yo, where's he performing next? And I was at the Comedy Store that weekend, and they saw me there, and I smashed it. And they were like,
sick.
You're on the next season. And then the day I got to the Apollo, right, it was so weird because, you know, when I got the call that I was doing it, right, it still didn't really sink in. It was more like, cool, I deserve this. Like, do you know what I mean? By that point, it got past the point of me going, oh my God, man. Like, it was like, nah, man, I work for this. Like,
yeah.
Be here. And I remember watching something.
Were you nervous?
Yeah. But I remember watching something where it was saying, act like you belong.
Yeah. Right? I've seen that.
I started off on a black circuit where you were performing to bigger crowds before you were performing to smaller crowds.
Okay.
So I always preferred the bigger crowds because you can't really see people's faces and the laughter travels. So you're allowed to be a bit, you perform a lot more, right? And then you see the laughter and the laughter's loud and whatever. Whereas in smaller rooms, you can see people's faces. They're a bit more like self-conscious about laughing because they think you might pick on them and that.
Yeah.
So when it got to the day, it was good nerves though, innit? It was like, boom,
excited, like you want to get on stage.
Like, oh, yo, this is what I'm here for. Like, this is what I'm meant to be doing, bro. So I got on there, and like I probably had one of the best gigs of my life, bro. To the point where everybody was like, "Fuck, bro, you smashed that!" Like,
who the fuck is this guy? Yeah, sick.
And it translated on screen as well, because like the amount of people that watch it and follow me after seeing it, and because people used to tell me like, "Oh yeah, you don't really get much followers from Live at the Apollo anymore. It doesn't do that." I got like thousands. I had thousands of people following me from it, and it just goes to show, like, when you stay true to yourself and you got a plan and you stick to it, like, people will listen, right?
100%. You just got to be consistent with it. Do you know what I mean?
Build it, they will come. If you build it, they will come.
It's
that age-old saying, like, if you build it, they will come.
100%.
So you have to believe it. It's like with anything, man. If you even with like fitness and weight loss, when you set yourself the goal and you're like, this is non-negotiable. I am getting to this. It is non-negotiable. Bro,
and it happens just like no other choice. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first jumped on stage to do a talk and stuff, usually when James has a tour, I open the shows and I'm pretty much, I like roast him a lot, innit? I roast him and I roast people out, and people come up to me, Diren, you should do comedy. I'm like, comedy? No, I'm just like having a bit of banter with people that already kind of follow me. So I think it's a little bit different. But what you said about a stage where there's less people, mate, I get nervous when there's less people. When there's a
100%.
lot of people, I have so much energy. I'm like shaking to get on stage. I'm like, I can't wait to
Yeah.
get on stage. When there's
It's the
less
best
people,
feeling.
yeah.
The best feeling.
This one time,
People are less self-conscious. People are less
yeah,
self-conscious, and especially when you're in a bigger audience, what that usually means is it's a better venue
yeah,
and everything's set up in a much better manner as well.
yeah,
So
it
you've
is.
got all the tools to succeed. Everything is set up for you. The lighting's low. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? The spotlight's on you. Like the crowd feel like they're there for a show. Whereas
yeah,
when you're in a smaller venue,
yeah,
like people are like, oh, this is a bit makeshift. I don't know
yeah.
about this, you know.
Exactly. It's like with the big crowd, you acting like you belong is like you're already there. Like you belong there because you're there, and it's everything's there. Lights,
Yeah,
can't see people's faces. And then like
yeah.
when you say something and then you hear someone cracking up, the confidence goes through the roof, bro. It's unbelievable,
Yeah,
isn't it?
and you
That
see, and the
feeling.
thing is, laughter travels. Laughter is very contagious. So when they're in the room,
Yeah,
they're seeing this person laugh and the person around them laugh. People are more likely to laugh their
yeah,
head off. Whereas when
exactly.
you're in a small room, you're like, and then they're seeing someone do this silent laughter where their shoulders are moving. That don't help me, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need to stop.
Open your mouth. Scream,
Yeah,
bro. Talk.
yeah. Get me, like, laugh, bro. What are you talking about?
Uh,
So,
when
yeah,
when we were doing the tour and I was opening the shows, like when we went to Australia, for some reason I was quite nervous in the Australia show because their humor is different. They laugh a lot of like if you say the word fuck, cunt, this, that, blah, blah, blah. They laugh at that, like go crazy. But like other jokes, they don't they laugh, but it's not the same. For some reason out there, they love it when you're like swearing because I don't think enough people swear out there. Do you know what I mean? So it was weird. So when I
oh no, I think they do.
no, they did. Yeah, maybe they do. But like when I was there, the first one, I was a little bit nervous. I said something, and then I heard an Aussie accent go, "What did he say?" And I was like, "Oh fuck, did I just fuck this up?" And then luckily, I said something else, and someone started cracking up, and I was like, "Oh, thank fuck for that, man. I'm all right now." But I was like, I got nervous first. But it's crazy.
Yeah,
The more I've stepped on stage, like the more and more confident you get. And now I feel match fit and I feel confident going out there and talking, especially
yeah.
for some reason, we've done day seminars and stuff. Day seminars are decent, but when it's nighttime, the lights, you have a drink, it's
The best.
unbelievable, bro. It's
It's the
unbelievable.
best. That's why I always tell people when people are like, why don't you do like comedy from your like a Zoom on Zoom in your house? I'm like, it's not the fucking same, man.
It's
I
not the
do it
same.
for the audience. When the audience are there, it's nighttime. I'm in a comedy club. Everybody's there to have a good time. The
Yeah, yeah.
feeling
The energy's
unmatched.
there, isn't it? The energy's
Yeah,
there from people, and you get that.
absolutely,
That's not.
absolutely. People have come from a hard day's work and they're like, do you know what? This is my treat. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
coming here. I'm gonna laugh, kind of thing. And you do it, and it's amazing. It's
yeah,
amazing. Like you just can't get that kind of interaction on Zoom.
yeah. When all this is over, I'm coming to one of your shows, bruv. I'm coming
Well,
to
this,
one
I
of
mean, listen, man. Do you know what's so funny? Before I came on a chat with you, I had a chat uh, with my management, and it's about like even the live circuit reopening again. Because for a lot of comics right now, well, not for a lot, all of us, like the live comedy industry is just shut down because there's,
yeah,
you know,
completely.
yeah. Um, and I had a tour booked in for October, and it's looking highly unlikely. I think at this stage that it can go
Okay.
forward.
Yeah.
Even
It'll eventually happen though.
yeah, eventually, yeah. But the issue is you don't even know how long this thing's going to go on for, whether there will be a second wave, and even if it does, whether like social distancing rules are going to be in place for a lot longer than we envisage. So,
Yeah.
so for a lot of theatres, like for example, I was meant to do 3 dates at the Leicester Square Theatre. Those tickets are already sold out. So what are you going to do? Tell people that they have to socially distance, so we're going to have to break it up along more shows. That means
Yeah.
booking out the theatre for a longer time, and also it means the theatre having to pay people for a longer time, so it's going to cost more, and
Yeah.
it's just not viable in it.
It's a
Like
headache.
what you're
It's a headache. It's a
people,
headache.
yeah, people having to sit 2 meters apart from each other in a venue of about 400, you're
Yeah.
probably going to get 50 to do you know what I mean, 50 people in because they
Yeah.
have to split apart or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's just looking, it is looking very unlikely,
It's looking mad.
unfortunately. But when it is all back and running, hopefully when I do it, because I wanted to film another special this year as well. I mean, that was a plan. Wanted to do that, but do you
Do
know
you,
what? Listen, we
do
just
you
got to
open
move
shows
forward.
for anyone? Do you like For example.
So when Mo had his tour, I opened for him. Because me and
Okay.
Mo, we've been mates for ages, and when it all popped off, he was just like, he initially started off with 10 dates. He was like, "Do you just want to open for me?" He's like, "I just want to go on tour with people I'm friends with."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
like everybody that was on that tour was his friend. Like his DJ is his friend. His tour manager was a friend.
Yeah.
Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like we were all kind of, we were all friends, and we're just doing this. Like, oh, is this how you tour? All right, cool, whatever. Let's
Yeah,
just do it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that was a great experience as well. And I've opened for Andrew Schultz when he was in London.
Sick.
And I've opened for another comedian called Dave Baptiste as well when he was on tour. But yeah, like I think right now I'm more focused on myself rather, and I
That's
just
good.
I do a lot of performing in comedy clubs on the
Yeah.
weekends and stuff, just trying to get like build on material, trying to get a new hour together. But right now, like it's been 3 months where I've been inactive and I haven't been able to work on anything. Like,
Yeah.
because people don't understand. Like when you're a comic, like you write material, you go to a comedy night, you perform it. All right, that worked, that didn't. How can I fix this? Then you go back another night and you
do
build
it
on
again.
it, tweak it to the point where it's like, fuck, man, how is this whole hour hilarious? You're like, that's taken like hours of stage time for me to get to that level. So we'll see.
I might attempt it. I might attempt it, bruv. Come in there,
Do
just
it.
go nuts. I'll do it for Bants, bro. Get it on YouTube for banter. PT.
Yeah.
Trying to be a comedian for a night. Bang.
Yeah, I mean, I can try and hook that up for you, man.
And then when I need help, I'm like, Kae Kurd, bro, I need backup.
At an open night, like comedy night or something, if you want to do it.
Yeah, bro, bit of banter. Why not, bro? If thank you for coming on, bro. It's been great having you on. Where can people find you? You tell them.
It's Kae Kurd on everything. So KAEKURD. That's my Instagram. That's my Twitter. So on Facebook as well, Kae Kurd, and on everything really. Like if kaekurd.com, everything's there.
Kaekurd.com. There you go.
Yeah, we still have websites. Ain't it mad? Like, do you know what I realized? Do you know what I found out recently? The you know, after Google,
Yeah.
people go straight to Instagram to find somebody rather than Google. So
Yeah, of
like
course.
if they hear about someone, like on TV or whatever, they'll go straight to Instagram and go.
Well, the link should be in the bio anyway. So when you find someone from Insta.
Yeah. But my point is, if your Instagram is hard to find, people won't find it.
That's true.
Mine is Kae Kurd, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's KAEKYD.
And
follow me.
He's got a blue tick. He's verified. He's big time. You'll see it.
I'm all here, baby. I'm just trying to. Come on.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for joining, listening. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Make sure you share it. You tell your friends, and make sure you follow a man like Kae Kurd. Peace and love.